Let's turn our attention now to this week because we have 3 more semifinals. We're going to focus on North America East, but we also have Africa and South America going on. Before we do that, I want to thank our other sponsor for this episode. That is Thirdsy, the collagen-based drink powder that helps with joint and connective tissue repair and helps you get great sleep and improve your recovery. Has ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, GABA. Those help calm your central nervous system and support deep and REM sleep. And Lauren recently, I don't know how you did this.
PR bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
Sleep. I was really sick last week. And I jumped in bed at like 6 p.m. and got up at I think at 8 a.m. the next morning. I didn't even get that's 14 hours, right? I didn't even get 14. I got like 9. How do you get
14 and a half hours, and I did not wake up once.
Unreal.
And my dog's just laying in bed with me, letting mom do her thing. And we were out in the nice, cold, 60-degree bedroom.
You have an amazing set of dogs for them to not bother you. Mine are bothering me like every 30 minutes at night. It's like, go away.
They know Mama takes that Thirdsy, and we are lights out, folks.
It's funny because
first thing I'm going to pack as I get ready for Knoxville here.
Oh, dude.
Travel packs.
Like that stuff is because I go to the 5 a.m. I went to the 5 a.m. class this morning. I got 4 hours of sleep, but I had Thirdsy because I got to bed late, had quality sleep, got up, felt great. I felt great. I woke up on my own at 3:30. I'm like, I'm just going to snooze for a second, but I was ready to go thanks to Thirdsy. This game changer.
The boys were making fun of me because I had like my little like Yeti cooler packed for when I picked them up from the airport, and I had like my snacks, and they're like, "Oh, what are these little travel packs?" And I was like, Thirdsy, with the amount of noise you guys make, I'm gonna need it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I packed one extra, which I need for Monday because I wasn't sure, if I was gonna stay down an extra day or not. But I got back, did Murph, took an hour nap, woke up, was like, I don't want that to mess up my sleep schedule. Took Thirdsy, slept for another 9 hours.
There you go. Thirdsy.com. That's the address. THIRDZY.com. Scan the QR code on your screen if you want. Use our code TEF. You're going to save 20%, and you're going to get the best sleep and best recovery of your life. Like I said, stuff is a game changer. It's made a huge difference for me. It's the reason why I get up 4 times a week at 4 a.m. to go work out at 5, because I can get good quality sleep thanks to Thirdsy. Check them out. Thirdsy.com. The code is TEF. You're going to save 20%, and you're going to have a good time. Okay, let's talk about North America East here. And we'd like to talk about our top storylines. I just have a few that I will throw out here. First one, I'm going to be watching, and it's not because of what has taken place in the past. It's just because I think these are easily the top 2 guys in the East, and that's Jeff Adler versus Roman Krennikov. That's going to be a fun battle to watch.
Yeah, podium implications. Obviously, there was like whether it was manufactured, a misunderstanding, a mistranslation, whether there was drama last year at the games. I know they've since like buried that, squashed that. That's the what we saw take place in Madison last year. I think everyone's just excited to see that kind of pick up where it left off. And I think in a similar vein to after Justin's first year, everyone's like, all right, well, what are we going to get from this second year of Jeff Adler once he's actually like climbed the mountaintop? And it seems like he's just continuing to fire on all cylinders too. I think obviously him and his wife, Carolyn Lambre, are they fully married yet? Fiance?
I don't know.
I haven't seen any wedding posts, but
fiance.
Canadian common law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
maybe they just went to the courthouse too. Who knows?
Yeah. Just seeing the kind of groove that they have found themselves in over the past year. They've expanded their gym in CrossFit Wonderland. So like the training opportunities for Jeff and her as a unit have gotten better. So I'm excited to see him kind of come out at a semifinal stage that he's done really well at.
Yeah.
He beat Vellner a few years ago, coming off a podium finish at semifinals, and he's continually been the man at semifinals in the East, up north when it was the Atlas Games that you were talking about. And I don't know, like how many times a year do we get to see 2 of the best in the world basically go head to head, right? And that's not including the what like version of Jason Hopper, a better version of Dallin Pepper, and all these athletes that I think will ultimately
Mhm.
factor into that race as well.
Yeah. Next one I have is Tia now versus Tia at the Invitational. What is that progress going to look like? Because at the Invitational, nearly won the whole thing. And she was what, 5 months postpartum?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah,
And she
around
had
then.
she has been dealing with a wrist injury. Okay,
Do we have a status on that? Do we know
I
if
don't
it's
know if
still
there's an update, but I haven't, you know,
Kind of kept that
kept
close
it
to
under
the vest,
wraps.
but
But
Yeah.
she was able to get through quarterfinals, okay, but
yeah.
now let's see. Because if this is stereotypical Tia where she shows up and it's her and everybody else and 4 event wins or whatever it is, look the hell out.
Yeah, but I think just the way that this weekend might play out. I mean, obviously, there's some events that she's just gonna crush, right?
Mhm,
Like there are aspects of her game that wrist or no wrist don't necessarily just go away, like what like you're running, particularly,
mhm,
and her aerobic base that she's been able to maintain. I mean, we saw that from the basically the first event at Rogue and where that was. Some of the questions that came about from that, like and now how many months removed from that, like remember at Rogue she couldn't wear a belt, right?
mhm.
Because there is the shift that goes on internally from having a baby and all of everything kind of getting back into its previous place. But I this is great because she will get to go against Emma Lawson, Danielle Brandon, Alexis Raptis,
Mhm.
some women that I think are like staring at that podium and they're like, I want a piece of that. And I think it'll be an interesting way because I think Tia, I would be surprised if Tia doesn't win the first event, right? Her
Mhm.
running is as good as anyone in the sport. Uh, and then
How
you
does
come,
hers compare with Haley Adams running?
I mean, I think they're right there. They were
Yeah.
1, 2 in most of the running events.
They
You
will
look at,
probably occupy 2 of the top 4 spots in that event.
yeah, I think I would be surprised if Haley and Tia aren't 1, 2 in some
I
fashion.
was gonna say, I'm trying to give myself some wiggle room. I'm with you. They're probably
Yeah.
top 2.
Look, I'll put it out there. I'm sure there's some great runners out there I know, and we could always get someone to surprise us, like Bernardin from this past week. And all credit to them if they do that. But just the body of work that we have from both Haley and Tia on running events, um, and
Yeah.
knowing that and talking to every female athlete so far, they feel like the clean and jerks are much more manageable weight wise than on the men's side. So that lines up well for both of them. It wouldn't have mattered for Tia weight wise, regardless, but for
Mhm.
Haley, it certainly helps. Um, and I didn't even mention her, and she's going to factor in. She looks great, by the way.
Dude, okay, so this was the Instagram post that she put up the other day. And I'll just do comp week. I think this we're recording
I
on.
love it. She ready.
She looks like I mean, like a new person.
Yeah,
That
happy, healthy, fired
just
up.
ready to
That's what
rock.
matters, right?
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, this is we'll just segue right into this, but this is a huge storyline everyone's watching. Is what are we going to get from Haley Adams after sitting out last season? Like I'm really looking forward to seeing her compete because, as you said, Tommy, I think better place overall, and
And
that
for her, I think it is a lot about her headspace and taking the year off for herself and going to therapy and finding ways to love fitness again on her own time and not having the pressure of it's all about the podium. It's all about winning, just going and having fun. That most of the time, that is when we see athletes start to really hit their stride. I mean, there's so many athletes that as soon as they don't focus as much on the leaderboard and focus more about just being present and hey, let's just go out there and see where our fitness is. That's when you should be scared of those athletes, is when your head is in the right spot.
For
Mhm,
sure.
for sure.
Again, and that's paramount, right? Like absent of any result, like is that's what's most important. And that has actually taken a little bit center stage with some of the news that's come out of the golf world in the last week or so, with what happened with Grayson. But it puts a heavier focus on, all right, we have these young athletes that are thrust into the spotlight at an early age and have to deal with a lot of pressure. and we got to make sure that we're setting them up for success as a community, that they're taking the attention to detail that they need for their own mental well-being. And I think there's a lot of excitement, and as a result, some pressure too, for sure. But I think a lot of people are just excited to see Haley back out on the competition floor. I know I am.
Mhm.
Well,
You know,
Yeah.
here's the other storyline that I have, and we talked about this a little bit. I can't remember. I know we talked about it. Is that if you look at the field of women in the East semifinal, I would not be shocked if the top 3 coming out of this, if that's your podium in Texas. I don't think that is an outlandish statement to make, that the top women out of the East will be the top women in Fort Worth, Texas. Because look who you got. You got Tia Toomey. You have Alexis Rathis. I think she's going to have a hell of a year. You have Emma Lawson, Haley Adams, and Danielle Brandon. If you told me those were your what order aside, if those were your top 5 of the games, I don't think I would be like, oh yeah, that you're crazy. What are you talking about? Like this is going to be, I think, the best women's field. They're saving the best for last in the women's field.
yeah, there are 7 women that have finished 7th or better at the CrossFit Games.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some are at different stages of their career in terms of what their focus is. Now, I don't think it's outlandish to say, if we're being completely honest, but it does feel a little outlandish because of what we know about both Gabby McGawa and Laura Horvath, and that would have to mean that something outside of the trend of what we've seen the last 3 years has to happen, right?
Yeah, but I agree with you. That's making a big assumption that neither Laura nor Gabby get themselves onto the podium.
Actually, you know what? I'll actually just, at this point, I'll just go out and say it. Like, I think it is outlandish. I think the assumption that neither Laura,
I don't think it is. I
I
really
think,
don't think it is.
yeah, I think the belief that neither Laura nor Gabby makes the podium this year. Yeah, I think that with
So you're saying that if I said your top 3 were Tia, Emma Lawson, and Alexis Rathis, you'd be like, that is how did that happen? That is absolutely crazy. There's no way that should have happened.
I would say, I think that's a little bit different statement than outlandish.
Okay.
Uh,
What I'm saying is, like, that could happen.
sure. Yeah, in the grand spectrum of the multiverse, I think that could definitely happen, and I wouldn't discount any of them. But if you're like, all right, you have, I'm going to give you $100, and you get to
Sweet.
place $101
Money
bets,
speaks.
$101 bets on the women's podium.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those bets? It was treated like a horse race, right? Because you can bet the trifecta box. How many different combinations of the top 3 would you have Laura Horvath or Gabby McGawa in?
I'd have Laura out there more than Gabby.
What? Yeah.
Right.
But even then, I would probably, if not all of them, 98 of them would have them in some form of combination, right?
Yeah, maybe. I look, I haven't seen Emma, Tia, Alexis, Haley, Danielle compete yet. So,
But we did see Laura kind of like a boss.
yeah, and again, I'm not. If gun to my head,
I almost
probably
want to
put Laura
say,
on the podium.
before I see Tia, I almost feel like this might be the year that Laura wins it all.
Again.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. With Tia in the field.
right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. but-
Obviously, Laura, won last year. Yes, we know she's already been a champion. But with Tia in the field, I think that this year is her best shot at being Tia, coming off of a win, coming off of all of this. I don't know the right word, not adrenaline, but I mean, she's been at the top. She's done it. She did it at Rogue, and it's the winner's factor, the winner's mindset that I think she's going to do it this year.
Okay, I'm going to wait and see until I see what kind of havoc Tia wreaks in Knoxville.
And I think she still will, but Laura's not there.
No, but that again, Laura and Tia wasn't in Europe. Right?
Sure.
So
Yes. Correct.
Nor were Emma and all these other, just pipe hitters that you got. And North America East.
It is interesting because I feel like there's less room for mistakes this week because now you have had you talking to most of the athletes. So some they didn't practice every single event exactly as is. They've practiced variations, intervals, very like permutations of it. But I do think with that, the execution becomes the the X factor because you don't have these people that are just going out and kind of going for it for the first time. You have the feedback data of watching it take place with multiple high level athletes over the last couple of weeks, and that makes it interesting, right? Because it's such a deep field, and I think there's what
Yeah.
11 spots up for grabs on the women's side, and like I mentioned, there's 7 women that have been in the top 7 at the games or better, and that's not counting multiple year games athletes like Carolyn Prevot, um, even ones that qualify. I mean, I guess Brooke Wells counts as that, but Paige Semenza's been Caroline Spencer, um,
It's loaded, man. And they've got
Feast
3 women
Gaffey.
who have worn the leader's jersey.
Yep, Anouk Greer is like that's a big
Okay.
storyline.
Good segue, because that's the next one I got is
Okay,
the 11 women. Is this now her year? Is this the year where Annika is like, I'm going? That sets up the best for her. I think it does. I mean, even with that deep field, I think this is her year. I think it's just going to be a fun storyline to watch.
Oof, it's I believe. If I think comparably in terms of like talent and games experience, you can start to look at Europe and what it takes. 355 was the 11th place points total for Emily Lundberg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start to look back at all right, what is it going to take on an event by event basis? I meant to do this, write this down, but so you're looking at like around 60 points per event gets it at that, which is not crazy,
No,
right?
I think she can do it.
60 points is, I want to say it's like 14th, an average of 14th. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you average a 14th, between a 14th and a 15th on every event, you go.
That seems to be for an athlete like Annika Greer, because we know the fitness is there. There's just been like little hiccups here and there that have derailed her season. I like her chances.
Yeah. Oof, man.
I mean, she running has been probably one of her biggest holes.
Mhm.
And I remember, was it maybe after Madrid 2 years ago, and she took a lot of grief from people, of course, on the internet, the worst types of people in the comment section, really digging at her running. And she's like, man, I've put so much more time into this. I was proud with my running. I've improved on my running, and now being in Miami with the Peak 360 group and training around Noah and Tola and all of those other athletes, like I see her on Instagram and a lot of training sessions with them. She knows what her weaknesses are. She's now put herself in an environment to be surrounded by higher level athletes that she has set herself up, I think, in the best opportunity to qualify this year just because of all of those other variables. But to me, it's watching her on that first event and knowing if it is still a damage control event, how she then recovers continuing into the rest of the weekend, because it is kind of a mind warp knowing what position you are after day one, but you've only hit one event.
One event. Yeah, come on.
Mhm.
Like Cole Singer
So
said,
it's a
you
weird
let the
scenario.
whole thing play out.
Yeah.
You gotta let
Yeah.
the whole thing play out, right? I mean, it's just we're not crowning champions after one event.
Day one.
I mean, we've seen some crazy comebacks from people just in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, and what's also interesting, another storyline I think is worth noting is that there is a big collection of, and this is, I guess, kind of been across the board now that I mention it, is a lot of young, like really young athletes competing at semifinals in the East, particularly. Callista Lang, 23, Logan Filaloose, 25, Reese Littlewood, 17, Lexi Neely, 21, Lydia Fish, 20, Aniston Sudoff, 21.
Yep.
Keep an eye on all these young women, right? Like this is like, whether they finish 20th or 25th or 17th, those are the finishes. Like, you start to stack up those events where eventually 2 years down the line, you're like, oh yeah, okay, that was that first year. That was the start. That was the start of the championship DVD, as they like to say in football. But
Yeah, well, the final storyline that I have just has to do with the teams, and that's we're going to get a look at Peak 360 now, in-person competition. The team competition, I think more or less these past couple of weeks has played out, I think, without any huge surprises. Invictus, as expected, wins at West Coast. We saw that super team down in Oceania, and now we get Peak 360, and I think those will be the teams, the one in Oceania with Cara Saunders, Newberry, and that crew. The Invictus crew, I think, and then those are going to be the ones that everyone's watching at the games. So do we get the continuation of, yeah, we're the best ones here, and we are on a collision course for Fort Worth?
Hold on, I wanted one more
There's a
stat.
lot of experience, I think, in the team side of things for the East, but I don't know who's got that fitness.
For sure. I mean, we've seen the other big name teams hold court in their semifinals, so I don't see any reason why we should get a crazy different result here. But yeah.
Anything that I didn't mention that you guys want to address for the East that you're looking forward to?
Hold on, I'm making a count. 11, 12 women 24 or younger in the field at the East.
Wow. Helps to be young with that fitness, with that recovery. Bounce back faster.
But don't forget about Amanda Barnhart.
That's a really good one, because I was looking at Amanda Barnhart.
32 years old.
I was looking at her.
Still in the mix, baby.
So this will be her fourth semifinal. Her best overall finish was second in 2022. She's got 2 event wins and 16 event finishes in semifinals. I guess that's close to almost every one when you've 16 inside the top 10. And her worst finish is 11th. That was Need for Speed 2 in 2021.
Yeah.
You want to talk about consistency?
Yeah, I think
that was a good pull there, Lauren.
We've spoken with her throughout the season, and it's just a different stage of life for her.
Yeah.
Obviously becoming a parent and pouring and doing so and pouring all of that energy into that, while also navigating a pretty rough injury, right? So it seems like,
was it her shoulder?
Yeah, her shoulder. And it just, I don't know. I'm not saying she won't qualify. I'm not saying that it won't be an uphill battle, but I think she's another athlete who is maybe taking the floor this weekend with a slightly different perspective than she has in years past.
So was Cole Sager.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And with that, maybe a little bit different set of gratitude or a different set of focus as far as surrendering the outcome as well. But yeah, which it actually makes it that much more intriguing, right?
It'll be fun. So it's the last weekend.
The final.
Yep. 11 spots for the men and the women. Was it 8 teams are going?
Yep. 11, 11, 8.
And then after this weekend, we'll know.
And Travis Mayer.
Travis Mayer. That's another guy.
Speaking of people who are always in the mix, 33 years old.
Yep.
Dad of 4.
We're not supposed to talk about him. That way the trend of being overlooked for him.
Yes.
Well, that's a guy.
I'm excited to watch him, especially. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was going to say he's like Lazar Jukic, right? We didn't talk a whole lot about Lazar going into the Europe semifinal because you just expect him to be there, right? Like Travis Mayer is going to qualify. That story begins at the games when you see, okay, can he now punch into the top 10, top 5? Yeah. It's like the same type of thing. Like Lazar is, well, of course he's going to be there. Travis is a guy I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when he takes some time off, obviously, for injury, right?
Right. But still, dude's a gamer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was trying to look up I mean, obviously there are storylines in South America, but I think the added spot kind of takes away from some of the drama on the men's side.
Look, it'll be fun to keep an eye on Guy, because I think Guy single-handedly raised the level of competition there to his own detriment, because now those guys started picking him off.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, now I need to raise it again. I need to raise my own game so I can now compete with the guys who were following in my wake and have now passed me.
Yeah, Kai and Kalyan
Mm-hmm.
kind of snuck up on him maybe last year. It's hard to say because there are a lot of events down there where they go and compete at, but I think that's also when you're that far ahead, you don't check the rear view as much.
All of a sudden, beep, beep.
Yeah, but yeah, I will be interested to see what that looks like now with a separate set of circumstances. But also, even talking to Guy at Wadapalooza this year, he didn't seem too concerned by it.
Yeah, I think he's sort of a kind of guy.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Super chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. But it's gonna be fun, and we'll certainly be keeping an eye on what's going on in Africa as well. Podcast coverage on Friday.
Mhm.
Adrian Conway's going to hold that down. Full coverage broadcast starts on Saturday. Adrian Conway and I will be in the booth. Bella Martin will be on the floor. Lauren will be on site doing some interviews for our social media. Tommy will be holding down the fort back here in California. So we'll have coverage all weekend long. We'll do some wrap-up shows as well. Took a break from that this past weekend, but we'll be with you throughout the weekend as we figure out who's going to go to the CrossFit Games from the final 3 semifinals. All right. Do we have any community support to get to before we get out of here?
I do not have any this week.
No community support. As always, happy to get the word out on whatever you guys are promoting. If you're trying to help people out, got an event that's raising money for somebody, let us know. Send it to us via Instagram, either on our personal accounts or on the Talking Elite Fitness account.
Mm-hmm.
Please include all the pertinent details, because we like to make sure that we are sending people to the right places to get the help that you need. PRs, no reps.
I got a bunch.
One bunch. Okay. Let's rifle through them.
We start with no reps. Let me pull it up right here. No reps. I'm gonna no rep whoever ultimately was responsible for the team lifting event, having their backs shown to the camera on that event. This is a double no rep and PR, but I'm gonna no rep injuries. Bill Leahy obviously getting injured, the Achilles, but also the grit and determination to finish that event with one Achilles, which is crazy. And it's heartbreaking, obviously, to have a second season marred by injury and illness. And then I'm also going to no rep Thieves, because unfortunately, some of fellow media members, Buddy Dillon, got his a camera lens stolen at the event. And it looked like whoever did it cased the place and just was there for the purpose. That's screw you.
That's a huge no rep. That's a lifetime
Thieves.
no rep. Thieves.
Yeah, it is.
Put them on the no rep wall. I'm going to no rep stomach bugs. I got a stomach flu last week on Friday, Monday night. It came out of nowhere. And then it came out everywhere, if you know what I mean. And it was like a trip to the emergency room Wednesday night. It was not fun, but back to 100%. Good to go, feeling good. I always get sick around semifinals. I don't know what it is. Without fail, something happens.
Last year, you were fighting it off too. I know it. It was.
So I'm nothing for. Just get me through this weekend in Knoxville, and then the wheels can fall off. But
which is funny, because 2 years ago when we did the double Knoxville weekend,
I got COVID.
Yeah, and you were fighting it off. I could feel it. You were like almost like ignorance is bliss, and we're
I don't think I tested there. I think I got it on the trip home.
On the trip back, but I know you weren't feeling great, and we were both kind of talking about it like, we can't be sick. Just don't admit defeat.
Can't. We were there for 2 weeks. Yeah, cannot do it. Cannot do it. Can't win with them. Lauren, no rep.
I'm just gonna no rep travel delays all at once. I feel like, Tommy, did you take that unlucky shirt and rub it on my bag?
I ground it into a fine powder and then shipped it in a Podium protein tub to your house.
Oh, I feel like you really did, because my flight to LAX was canceled. My flight home from LAX was canceled. And I saw it in the middle of the broadcast. And in my head, I'm just like, well, there's absolutely nothing that I can do about this right now. So Godspeed to
Mhm.
figuring it out later. Ultimately got home. So it is what it is. But the travel sagas continue.
And on a positive, PRs. I'll PR the Torian Pro crew. Fantastic job. Our boy Jeremy Austin and company down there. Just that was a fun event to watch. Looked like a great atmosphere. They knock it out of the park as always. And it's a lot of work. Like I know Jeremy had like a 9-hour day. That dude did not shut up. He had some breaks here and there, but he did every heat of every event. So,
Yep.
attaboy to Jeremy Austin, PR for him.
I'm going to piggyback off of that because they had some awesome moments as a result. Alethea Boone going unbroken on the muscle
Sweet.
ups and lunges at 40 years old. The dancers that they have there every year,
Oh, so cool.
like the indigenous dancers, and they incorporate CrossFit movements into their routine. They're doing toes to bar and sync and
That's
muscle ups. I even think they had like a Castro reference in there somehow,
Wow.
which is just like, you did your homework, guys.
Did
I love it.
the naked CrossFitter come back? Remember that guy from the old Pacific Regional?
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
What happened to him? It's
Um,
probably Jeremy Austin. That's why he was probably calling the event.
yeah.
Gotcha, Jeremy.
Have we ever seen them in the same frame?
I
I
have
don't know.
not.
I also want to. It sounds weird, but I'm going to PR Mexico.
Yeah.
They put two
I like
teams
it.
from the West Coast out: Complex Wadex and CrossFit Querétaro, the
Didn't
Wolfpack.
they do well? Both those did what they both did well at the beginning of the year in Wadapalooza, right?
Yeah, Complex Wadex almost won the swim. They
Yeah.
Worms Can't Swim event. They finished second,
Yeah.
and they have like extremely talented teams. The Wadex team has two of the men from that Wadapalooza trio, plus Sasha Nievas.
That's a good
CrossFit
team.
Querétaro has Paulina Haro, former Games teenage
Mhm.
athlete, really good lifter, had one of the best lifts for a team event. And Nico Badarte out of Argentina, who was right there on the fringe of qualifying as an individual out of that semifinal the last couple of years. So really good teams, big PR to them. And last but not least, CrossFit Echo Park, aka Kicks Sneakers. So awesome.
Oh, yes.
So CrossFit Echo Park hosted us for a workout. And one of their owners also runs a sneakerhead shop as well, as the two businesses. So we basically like worked out, did a class there with a bunch of people, and then got some sneakers. Got me a pair of Jordan 1s, Tokyo
Wow.
Biohacks. Got my wife some shoes. It's just like a cool setup. Awesome people there. Highly recommend it. KYXsneakers.com is their spot. Good
Free
people.
plug. All right. Lauren, you got PR?
I'm going to PR Barkley Dale.
Yes, that guy.
If you heard me say anything about a number, and if you're listening to our podcast or on YouTube, you know that is my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Numbers, math, it is like a foreign language to me. And I had Barkley Dale standing behind me the entire broadcast, slipping me notes and little sticky things
Unsung
on
hero, man.
the unsung hero. And Chad Schrader, he was also in my text messages.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
awesome.
two of them feeding us the numbers to help keep you educated on what was going on, they deserve kudos because the number crunching, nobody was going to leave that up to me, or I would have definitely said the wrong athletes going to the CrossFit Games.
I gotta find it. I gotta find it because I have a hilarious photo. I was gonna try and snipe a photo of you and Adrian in the booth, and
Is it really me and Barkley?
he unbeknowingly like creeped in, and then right as he looked and saw me, his eyes widened, and I snapped the photo. So it's like you and Adrian, and then him kind of blurry in the background, like, and knowing his
You got to
personality,
send
it's
that
so
to me.
goofy and fun. Oh man, yeah.
Barkley
Barkley's
texted
the
me
man.
the other day to ask me a question, and he opened it with Mr. Woodland, and I'm like, "Listen, Barkley.
Mr. Woodland.
First of all, you call me that, I feel older than I am. So that's." He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He was apologizing. Don't worry.
Oh.
He's mortified, of
And
course.
also, he is just so kind,
Very good.
and like we can tease about it here, but never in one moment did he make me feel dumb for asking a question about numbers and why or how he got to the number that he did, and just so easy to work with and just made the experience for me so much better.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Dude, from a traditional standpoint, from a traditional sports standpoint, guys like Barkley are what win awards, right?
Yeah.
Like Al
Oh,
Michaels.
absolutely.
Chad Schroeder, Halpin, like all those guys. They do fantastic work.
You think about all the famous broadcasters, Al Michaels, Vince Scully, those guys, they had their spotters, right?
Yep. And
Yeah.
they're guys, 100%.
You need them to help tell the stories.
Yes, you do. They make a big difference.
Mhm.
Okay. One weekend remains. North America East, Knoxville. Getting on a plane Friday morning at 6 a.m.
Woo.
And then getting there
Oh,
Friday evening, and then getting up Saturday and getting to it. So it'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting back at it, being out there on the road again. If you guys are in Knoxville, please come say hi. I love meeting people. Lauren will be there too. Love talking to you guys.
yeah. Let me know where you guys want to work out on Thursday. I get in at like 10 a.m.
Not happening. No. Yeah, I always pack workouts. I'm like, maybe this time. No. Not.
Oh,
And I'll do it again because I'm that kind of an optimist.
Routine.
But it ain't usually ain't gonna happen. So we'll have coverage throughout the weekend too. Check out our Instagram pages, YouTube, and then our podcast as well. We will be releasing stuff on all of our channels, so we'll get you covered as we have now one weekend of semifinals remaining. Big thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Garmin.com. Check out the Epix Pro. Thursday.com. The code is TEF. You'll save 20%, and maybe you, like Lauren Khalil, can sleep for 14 straight hours.
Sleep like you're dead without being dead.
My life for $500, please, Alex.
I like that.
All
Sleep
right.
like you're dead without dying.
There you go. That is going to do it, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate the support. We will see you guys in Knoxville. For Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil, I am Sean Woodland. To take care of each other, be better, and we will talk to you guys next time.